What is going on, everybody? For the last month, I have literally been living in China, and I think I'm probably one of the most qualified people here on YouTube just to talk about fulfillment in China and China in general. Now, I'm not saying I myself am the most qualified. I'm saying, like, of the people who have a YouTube channel, I've been to China and I've gone to many different factories. I've spent many, many hours in offices and warehouses and at literal tea tables negotiating with, factories and shipping lines. And I think because I have such a great opportunity here on YouTube, I want to share everything that happened in China. And I wanted to talk about fulfillment companies and private agents and private suppliers and all these things and explain to you guys what China is. So when you have your brand that's scaled up, you can fly out to China and do everything that I did. And I think it's a really cool opportunity for me to be able to share this with you guys. And I'm really excited to dive deep into this. I want to talk about fulfillment companies you should use or shouldn't use. I'm not going to call anything out in specific. I think it's a little bit rude of me to do, especially because I haven't seen their entire operation. But I think I really understand fulfillment, and I want you watching this, whether this is you're doing 50 orders a day or whether you're doing 500 a day. I want you to look at this and just kind of understand fulfillment a little bit different because it kind of changed my entire perspective of how China works. So this video also is not going to be super edited. There's going to be a few clips of me in China. So if you want to get dinner, sit down, watch this. This is probably going to be very important for you, just as you scale for Q4 and for I don't know e-com in general. I think this video is going to be very helpful to a lot of people. So yeah, let's get into it. This is China, okay? And this is no, that's not China. Okay, shit. Hold on. This is China, okay? And in China, you have many different things, okay? You have mainland China, which is what you guys probably have never heard of before. You've probably heard of Hong Kong and Beijing and Shanghai, right? But the thing is, Hong Kong is down here. Hong Kong is a territory of China. Hong Kong is where you will most likely fly in when you go to China. But Hong Kong is very different than China. See, it's this little area down here with 30 something, 40 something million people. And it's borderline the USA. It's kind of treated as a split test. You know how we split test our offers, we split test our landing pages, whatever? It's kind of treated like a split test where almost anybody can actually get into Hong Kong. And you don't need a Chinese passport or a visa or mainland China, okay? It's treated as this like centralized hub for anyone in the world pretty much to go to. Now, outside of Hong Kong, you have all this up here in the green, which is mainland China, which also includes Shenzhen and Guangzhou. These are just labeled separately so I can show you what's going to happen. So you're going to fly into China and you'll go to Hong Kong, okay? And Hong Kong and you'll go through no problem. It's like America. It's very easy. You're going to get in this thing called a Didi, which is like an Uber, and you're going to be like, what the fuck is going on, dude? So you're gonna go to Shenzhen basically, and that's where everything is. Everything in China, all of the fulfillment side, everything in China is Shenzhen and Guangzhou. Okay, and that's why we've kind of blurred out everything else because it doesn't matter. Okay, where are we? We're over here. Okay, so Hong Kong, borderline in the USA. Anyone who lives in Hong Kong, they don't really live in like mainland China. It's like it's not the same thing at all. When you go to Hong Kong, you're seeing white people. When you are in mainland China, you'd be lucky if you saw a white person, unless you're in Nanjing. So in Shenzhen, which is where most of you will probably end up going if you go to visit your supplier, your agent, whatever. Okay, you're gonna see Futian, which is like this super cool um, area of Shenzhen. And please pardon my spelling; I can't do it too well. But you're gonna see Shenzhen, which is just super cool. Like let's look up the night like look at the nightlife here, or look at the night. Also, I'll throw clips of me like at the club, or just showing you downtown food. It's super cool. I met a few friends out there. Super cool area. They have the fourth biggest tower in the world called the Pinyin. But let's not get sidetracked. You have Futian, which is kind of like Manhattan, New York City. You have the five boroughs in New York City, and you have like Brooklyn, you have Long Island, you have whatever. You have Manhattan, Brooklyn, all the other ones, Queens, whatever. Okay, that's like Futian. That's like the hub. Then there's Nanshan, which is where a lot of foreigners stay, and that's probably where you'll stay if you end up going there. Then you have Guangzhou, which is now where we're actually getting into the meat of the video, where you're actually going to learn some shit. And this is where all the factories, the warehouses, the offices, everything in China pretty much is. Okay, in Guangzhou or Langzhou, I think the offices and warehouses are actually in Langzhou. I'm talking about factories here. The factories, not necessarily the warehouse, but the factories are always in Guangzhou. So if you're wondering where the 1688 factories are, always in Guangzhou. And I went to a few of them. We'll throw some clips up on the screen now. That's me in a supplement factory, and then here's me in a beauty factory. Shout out editing, but fulfillment is always in Guangzhou. That's where the factories are. Okay, the warehouses are in a different like district, I believe, but I don't give a fuck. Okay, so private supplier, private agent, fulfillment partner, whatever. That's all the same thing. It's just mechanisms made by gurus on YouTube to try and sell you their mentorship so you get access to their person in their Discord and then they get affiliate on it. Okay, so just so you understand. So we're clear, when I refer to an agent or a private supplier or a fulfillment partner or a fulfillment company, they are all the same thing. Now what's going to happen is you're going to have your fulfillment partner or whatever. Basically, you are this guy here. Let me get my drawing thing out. You are this guy. Oh, shit. Let's get a bigger brush, okay? So you're this guy here. And you are scaling a new product. You're doing 10 orders a day. And now you're doing 50 orders a day. And you're like, oh, shit, I should probably start getting, fulfillment going. So before you get to, the 100, 200 orders a day, you really want to make sure you got your shit straight. So you have like 50 orders a day, whatever. And you need to go hit up your fulfillment partner or your private agent or whatever. And again, this is just a company. Okay, this is a company. This is their job. And the company, let's call them F. The company is going to be like, all right, yeah, we can source for you, because again, anything is sourceable in China. And you're going to send them this link. And it's probably going to be like AliExpress or 1688. Okay, and then they're going to go contact the factory that makes the product. And the factory's probably 2 hours away. They'll just call them. They speak fluent Chinese. They call them like, hey, can we source this? And like, yeah, of course. How many do you have in stock? We have 1,000, 2,000 in stock. You're like, okay, we're doing 50 orders a day, so let's do 500 up front. Okay, let's cash flow them for 10 days. So then they're going to order 500 up front, and they're going to store it at their warehouse. Okay, now something to note here is this fulfillment company has pretty much two different things going on here. Okay, two different operations. They have they have their office, which I'm going to show some clips of me at an office, and then they have their warehouse, which I'm going to show some clips of me at a warehouse. And the office, you have a ton of workers, like lower end workers, who are fulfilling your orders, whether they're doing that through some sort of AI or whether they're doing that manually through like an ERP, whatever. They are fulfilling your orders. Okay. You also have your account managers, so you have like the fulfillment side of this, and then you have your like account managers. Okay. And that is what a lot of you guys are actually talking to. When you're referring to a private supplier or a private agent, you're referring to the account manager. Again, it's very simple. Account is like the client in this scenario, and then manager, the person who's managing all your orders. She's the person that's like, or he's the person, whoever, is like, hey, like our guy has a request, like what's going on? Like, why are my orders delayed? Can we get better pricing? Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do R&D? She's the person who goes, oh shit, okay, sounds good, okay. Like your order's delayed, let me talk to my person here. They'll fulfill, or like let's okay, let's do research and development on it. Then she'll go and talk to the factory. Let's do that. She does all this. She's like, okay, she sends the invoices. Shit, not there. She sends the invoices to you or he, whatever. Does all these things. Okay, that's the account manager. Now back to the example. The factory, the account manager will be like, okay, we need to send 500 pieces to our warehouse, which is over here. The warehouse. And there's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of products being stored here, right? And they have 1 to 3 day processing time. It depends on the warehouse, depends on the fulfillment company. It's not uncommon to see 1 to 2 days. Most of the time you're gonna see 2 to 3. But anyways, you're gonna have this warehouse here, and they are going to have, let's say, 500 of your units just in there. And during like 1 hour of the day, let's say, or maybe 30 minutes of the day, they're gonna have a line right here of like things and like a conveyor belt, okay? And then they're gonna have boxes down here. I'm gonna show this on the screen as well. And they're gonna start packaging your orders. Let's say you do 50 orders that day. They're gonna start packaging your orders. They're gonna have one person right here who packages your orders with her fucking hands or his hands, whatever, like literally with their hands. We'll put on the conveyor belt. It'll go down here. It'll get scanned by this thingy, and then it'll speed up. It's so cool. It'll speed up and then just get put into a box here. And then all 50 will be done. Then they'll take that box, wrap it up, and then they'll send it out to like Unexpress or like Wambi or Yanwen or whatever shipping line that you choose to use. If you're using a supplement, then I don't know the word for this, but it's different. It's got to be like Unexpress supplement line or whatever. Or maybe you're using a certain supplement line that's like not going to get held at customs, whatever. You can request all of these things, right? So anyways, that is what's going to happen. And I'm going to talk about fulfillment in this category here. So there's kind of 4 different ways that it would explain it. There's shit, okay? Like these are character traits of a fulfillment company, okay? It's shit, competitive, unique, and then shiny Gyarados. instead of legendary, there should be female. I don't know if you guys know like Pokemon, but like female Pokemon are like more rare. So it'd be like a female shiny Gyarados is like the holy grail of shit that you can get. And so we're gonna talk about the traits that fulfillment has. And I first want to explain that this is a race to the bottom. Fulfillment is a race to the bottom. Just as like imagine your Kalo data ripping and you're trying to get, the lowest CPA possible. That's the same shit. It's literally a race to the bottom with this. So like people are always pushing down quotes and all this, but you guys gotta understand there's more to fulfillment than just quotes. And that's what I'm gonna fucking explain today. And I'm really excited to be able to understand this fully and talk about it because it is quite it's quite fucking cool. Okay, it's race to the bottom. People are always pushing down quotes. And they expect that they can push down a quote and for the service to be the fucking same, which is the furthest thing from the fucking truth, okay? So let's go into this. Competitive quotes. Competitive. Companies do that. That's just the nature of the business. It's competitive. Cash flow inventory. It's pretty unique. You won't always see someone cash flow your inventory unless you're doing consistent volume. Like if you're doing 100 orders, 200 orders a day for the past, 3-4 weeks, and you get a new quote and they like the quote, and they're like, okay, yeah, let's switch over. They'll connect you to the ERP, and they'll be like, okay, let's cash flow your inventory. So we can start off on a good relationship. That's pretty unique. Not a lot of fulfillment companies actually do that. And then there's cash flow, the branding side of things. Imagine you have been working with this fulfillment company for 2, 3, 4, 5, how many months, right? Or weeks in this example. You're like, fuck, all right, we're at 100 orders a day, 200 orders a day now. Maybe we should start getting our branding on this. Like, it'd be really good to not like drop ship shitty product. Let's start cash flow the branding, okay? Let's start doing branding. Then the film company might be like, you know what? You're doing consistent volume. We trust our relationship with you. You've hit every invoice on time. Let's cash flow your branding as well. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna hit up the factory. Okay, again, the account manager, who is somewhere over here. I don't know where she went or where he went. I call it they them guys. Fuck, I'm gonna get canceled. No, I'm not. This is ecom. You can't get canceled in ecom. Okay, so we have that's the warehouse. We're fulfilled. Okay, this is the factory. They're gonna hit up the factory and be like, hey, we want to do some branding on our product. And we're like, okay, sweet. They're gonna do a sample. Okay, I'd say the MLQ is like commonly like supplements is like 1,500 to 2,000. But they're gonna create a sample and they're gonna create one, and they're gonna show you, hey, does this look good? Like, is the branding look good? Whatever. And you'll be like, yeah. And they're like, okay, sweet. Sometimes fulfillment companies, again, if they're unique, will cash flow all 2,000 units of this, which most of the time is pretty cheap if you're doing like supplements. But they'll cash flow that as well. That's pretty unique. Now, the worst thing of any fucking fulfillment company is white labeling other facilities. And this very often happens with Americans who think that they can middleman factories without having an actual Chinese operation. So there's companies out here, which I'm not actually going to mention. Maybe I should. But they will literally white label. They won't have their own office and they won't have their own warehouse. And they will basically, because they can't do, because you aren't Chinese. You have to understand, you aren't Chinese. You can't get a warehouse, okay? You can't get an office, and nobody is going to give a fuck about you because you're white, okay? So these people are never going to think you're serious, okay? So they'll start instead, and they'll be like, oh my God, this is my fulfillment company. And they're just going to middleman. They're gonna get a little bit of slot in rent in an office, like in an office with a bunch of people, like a little area for their account managers that are Chinese that don't speak English, and then a little slot in a warehouse as well. They're never going to own it. They're never going to have a mortgage on it. They're going to be literally leasing it, okay? And they don't have a Chinese partner. That is, I think the most important thing is Americans are very good at this shit. We're a very capitalist country, but you need a Chinese partner in China. It's just how it works. You will never be able to negotiate shipping terms with, these shipping companies, with UniExpress, whatever. You'll never be able to negotiate with the factories. You'll never have good communication with them. And you won't be able to actually rent shit out or buy shit or have a mortgage on anything. They just won't let you, okay? So there's these Americans who become a middleman. And what's going to be very common with that is you're going to see is that their quotes are just going to be bad. So there's people that white label facilities because they don't actually live in mainland China. Again, remember, Hong Kong is a territory of China. So there's oftentimes people that live in Hong Kong that pretend like they have a fulfillment company, or people in the US that pretend like they have a fulfillment company when they are really just white labeling. Like they're white labeling Day One Fulfillment, who's like a huge fulfillment company, and they're just white labeling them, pretending that they're them. They're middlemaning, and they make like jack shit. That's why prices, their quotes are always pretty bad. Now, That's the worst case scenario, and I get pretty amped up about that. But it's the most important thing. Now, the shining Gyarados of what is they are American with a Chinese partner. And the reason that's so important is because if you have Americans that are being your account managers, like you have an all American account managing team living in China, then you understand that it's different in the sense that you can FaceTime your account manager and speak English. If you're like, yo, like I need to hop on a FaceTime, like I want to do R&D now, okay? Or let's hop on a Google Meet or Zoom, whatever. They understand. Plus, when you text them, they're going to speak fluent fucking English. Also, they come from the same ethics and morals that your country is from. In China, it's a little bit different. I'm going to be honest. And the people there are very nice, very, very high frequencies, very nice people. I mean, again, I'll throw videos of me in the club with a bunch of Chinese friends that I made that we don't speak a lick of the same, we don't speak the same language together at all. But we were boys. The thing is, like, they just aren't the same people. They come from literally the furthest way across the world, and they're great people. But the businessmen there will do shady shit. And because you don't speak the same language, and because they can take advantage of you because you don't know what the hell is actually going on the China side, it's very dangerous. And that's why this is like the shining Gyarados of all things, is if you have an account manager that's English, that lives in China, and they have a Chinese partner that isn't white labeling, you have hit the holy grail. And moving down to the competitive stuff as well is like 3PL and having multiple different shipping lines and being able to negotiate. Again, I was at a tea table. I want to put that on the screen again. It was fucking sick. And then another like great thing, again, unique, is English account managers. But this isn't incorporating with having a Chinese partner, because you can have English account managers while white labeling, right? Like you can. Multiple different companies do that. I honestly, fuck it, I'll start talking like Zendrop, for example. They do that. They have English account managers, and they're trying to work on their, what's it called, Zendrop Private now, which, again, I'm not here to shit on anybody's company, but they don't have an actual Chinese operation. They are white labeling. Okay? And again, everything in this video is my personal opinion. And I would say I am technically biased. I'm here giving you information. I was in China for 3.5 weeks with a certain fulfillment company. Obviously, I'm going to be biased, but this video is fully my opinion. Moving forward, competitive 1 to 3 day processing again. And then this is something that's pretty unique as well. Some fulfillment companies, if you're really like doing a lot of order volume, they will fly you out. They will get you a fucking visa, and that's a whole different thing, dude. Try to go to China try to go to China yourself, like actually into China yourself. You will not be able to. You need to get an invitation letter. You need to fill out the COSA visa, something like that. You need to go to a Chinese embassy and get accepted. They need to actually put the visa on your passport. You have to go to the consulate in person. Again, like in person. You have to go to the consulate in person to do that. So there's one in New York City. There's one wherever. You have to fly to that and then do that. And that's a 3-day thing. And then you have to actually land in China, in Hong Kong, get your fingertips fully done, get your face fully scanned. They go through all your luggage and shit. And then you can get to mainland China. And even then, people there don't speak English. So very unique that actually happens. But big fulfillment companies will do that. Now, I believe I have silver here. Okay. So now, again, we're going to go through the 4 things that a fulfillment company has. The worst case is like they're just white labeling. Okay. The worst case scenario is they're white labeling, and you can't really have good quotes because of that. And they don't have their own operation. So they're kind of getting fucked by the factories. They're kind of getting fucked by the shipping lines. All of that jazz. Then we have the case, which I think most of you are actually operating in this area. And that's when you're working with just a Chinese agent. And they also have competitive quotes. So competitive quotes is a plus. Having a Chinese agent, I would say, isn't a plus. It isn't necessarily a minus, though, guys. Like, I would just give it like you know what I mean? And I don't want to come off as someone, I don't want to come off as like I'm biased, or not biased. I don't want to come off like with hate, but I've been in China for many weeks, and it's just a different culture, and there's different ethics and morals. And I'm not saying that all agents are bad. That's where I'm going into my other example. Like, a good class is when you have a Chinese agent that's trustworthy, that you've been working for months, that you've sent hundreds of thousands of dollars to. I think this is a good case. Like, this is a good case. This isn't a bad case at all. If you have an agent that you've been working for a while, that you can genuinely trust, that you've sent hundreds of thousands of dollars, they are cash flowing your inventory, and they're being competitive with your quote, dude, you're in a good case. You are in a very good position. Most people are not here. Most people are in this case. And I've heard horror stories of people literally sending invoices, and one, their inventory isn't being cash flowed. So when they send their invoice, their shit hasn't been sent out. Plus, they don't send it out and they just take the fucking money. I know of a brand recently that sent a $250,000 wire to a company that I will not disclose because they are being sued, and I believe there's a settlement that might go through with that, whatever. But sent $250,000 invoice, and they weren't cash flowing their inventory, and the guy just literally ran off with $250,000 because again, 250,000 fucking dollars, bro. Imagine you just do nothing, you get 250 grand. That's what a lot of like they think like that. Some of these the elite businessmen, it's there isn't much international laws that you can do with that. And I'm not trying to like scare you, okay? It's just like work with an agent that you can trust, okay? And if they're Chinese, perfect. Just make sure there's someone that you can trust and you've been working with for a long time. Then we have the shiny female Gyarados case, which is like the greatest case that you can ever have. Um, and it's the dream. Having a U.S. agent, so like you're talking to a U.S. account manager, okay, that lives in China. So they actually have a Chinese operation. They aren't white labeling. And again, the reason you need a Chinese operation is because of the rent, because you have leverage, and because there is racial bias. Like if you are an American dude, unless you speak fluent fucking Mandarin, if you're sitting down at that tea table and you're negotiating, you are going to get bitched because you don't have an operation or like it's you are going to get bitched, okay? And so you need a Chinese partner that can sit at that table, that can actually negotiate with the factories, that can go to the factories in person because they know how to fucking drive in China. Driving in China is a whole different thing. So yeah, there's racial bias, but also when you are a Chinese businessman, you have the shipping lines that literally come to your office and sit down and drink tea with you. Like this is an actual thing in China. Look it up. Like the tea table. They sit down and they drink tea and they have this really cool way of like they clean the tea with one and they pour it out and they do it again. And they have this like what's it called? Like what did the Romans do where they had like the water go down? Litigation, not litigation. Wow. Uh what is it called? Fuck, hold on. What is this word that I'm calling? So it's aqueducts. I don't think it's called an aqueduct. No, it's not an aqueduct. It's like when like the water, guys. It's when the water like flows like this, like flows down. Yeah, that's how they do like the T slate. Okay, back to the dream team, the dream shiny Gyarados shit. Okay, they would cash flow your quotes. I mean, fuck, not cash flow. They would cash flow your inventory. They have competitive quotes, and also they have quick processing, like 1 to 3 days. So that is the genuine dream scenario. And of course, I'm making this video not to just throw out information. I obviously have a shiny Gyarados. Like that is why I'm making this video. I don't want to ever pretend like I'm not doing something that I am. Like there is a Typeform link down below to work with our fulfillment company. And we have the shiny Gyarados dream team scenario. We are working with some of the biggest dropshippers in the world doing 2,000 to 3,000 orders a day. Like we have a one-on-one service with, again, US account managers in China. And I hope this video was helpful enough to the point where it's like, okay, you understand, like worst case scenario, even if you don't want to work with us, even if you don't want to apply, that you understand more about Chinese fulfillment, and that if you do have a Chinese agent that you've worked with a long time that you trust, that you can come to China and understand it a little bit more because it really is confusing and it's really sick being able to go to China. Like I think I'll be there every 1 to 2 months. It's just a super cool place. There's a lot of cool countries around it, like Japan, Korea. You got Bali right there as well. So I think I'll be there very soon, again and again and again. And again, if you want the shiny Gyarados situation, or if this video is helpful, then there is a Typeform like application down to work with us. And the reason I say application is because we aren't taking like drop shippers that are doing no volume. Like you have to be doing volume and have to have consistency to work with us. And so that is why it's on an application only. Like typically you're gonna see companies that like will just do quotes. And the difference is that we want to have a one-on-one service. And that's what I'm saying. We have US account managers that are in China and they are actually doing your operation in China, and then we have some that are living in like New York City and in Florida, whatever. And you can just FaceTime, and it's a very one-on-one service, and it's very unique. That's again, that's why my autistic version of Shiny Gyarados situation is just so unique. You are working with an American team that has a real Chinese operation. It's very different. You have both of these. You have the American team, which is the white label that people typically do. Then you have the Chinese operation where you have a Chinese agent that you might not be able to fully trust, and then you combine it, and that's where we have our unique mechanism, which if you watch the last video you're going to understand unique mechanisms a little bit more, but that's where we have our thing. Our mechanism is we are Americanizing China. But again, guys, if you made it to this part of the video, I'd really appreciate one if you subscribe and all that, and two, like, do whatever you want on the socials down below. Like, follow me on Instagram, whatever. I think this is like one of the only videos where you're actually gonna hear everything. Like, again, of course, I have some bias, right? And that's just how humans are. But I went to China for a month and I lived there and I saw the whole operation. I understand how this works most likely more than you. You know, I'm sure there's hundreds of people that understand it more than me, but not all of them have a YouTube and have the ability to say all of this and show all of it off. So again, if this video is helpful, please subscribe and like. I'd really appreciate it. But also, the Typeform link to apply to work with us will be down below. Again, if you're doing at least 20 to 30 orders a day, apply. Even if you're doing less than that, we'll put you on a wait list. But again, we're working with some of the biggest dropshippers in the world, doing 2,000, 3,000 orders a day, drop shipped, like drop shipping still. So if you're doing 100, 200 orders a day, or at least 20 to 30, whatever it is, just apply to work with us down below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I'll be in China very soon again. And stay tuned for all these educational videos. I'm about to go hard as fuck on YouTube. All right, peace out, guys.